As Margaret mentioned, the pass level for commercial compostability is biodegradation of 90% within 180 days. What this means is 90% of that organic carbon present in the test substrate has been converted to carbon dioxide within that 180 days. And we want to point out that the stringency in the criteria for certification is actually stricter than nature. So here's some other examples of some natural materials that would, of course, also be added to a commercial composting facility. Things like wood fibers only degrading 71% in 728 days, all the way down to pine needles, which only degrade by about 52% in 1 year. So the actual criteria for biodegradation as set forth in ASTM D6400 and also the BPI certification scheme is actually much stricter than nature. So we get this question a lot, and that's why is it 90% biodegradation and not 100% biodegradation? And to answer that question, we really have to consider the biochemical pathway by which biodegradation is occurring. So in very simple terms, the carbon that's present in the substrate or polymer of interest in the presence of oxygen gets converted to carbon dioxide, water, residual carbon, and biomass. That residual carbon can be intermediate degradation products, and the carbon also goes to biomass growth. Again, if you put this amount of material into compost, the microbes that are present, the bacteria and fungi that are present in that compost inoculum, will also be using that as a food source to grow and multiply and divide. So in short, not all of the carbon in the polymer can be expected to be converted to carbon dioxide, but through the course of this testing, we can be confident that that remaining 10% would be non-persistent microparticles, degradation byproducts or intermediate degradation products, and biomass. And so that's why we focus on a 90% criteria and not a 100% criteria. Again, to show the increasing stringency as these standards have developed over time in the early 2000s, the first standard, which was EN 13432, just set a flat 90% pass level for that biodegradation aspect. In the 2010s, standards were updated to reflect the requirement that any ingredients present in a finished item in a concentration of 1 to 10% needed to be tested separately for biodegradability. And the reason for that is you didn't want to have a material that was made of 90% biodegradable product, but 10% something that was completely not biodegradable, which could contribute significantly to microplastics accumulation and just in general not be biodegradable. The ingredients that were less than 1% concentration were exempt from testing, but the sum of those ingredients needed to be less than 5% in total in the finished item. If we fast forward to today, we are now considering, or it is going to be changed, I believe in 2026, to a new criteria, which is that ingredients present in a concentration of 1 to 15% will need to be tested individually. And again, the sum of those ingredients less than 1% will decrease to be no more than 3%. So again, just reflecting the increasing stringency over time of these laboratory tests.